All right, you guys, I'm so excited to give you guys this message today. My name is Dr. Cheryl Meyer. Today we're going to talk about turning your weaknesses into strengths. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh, you can't see. I'm going to take my jacket off. All right. It's raining outside, or I do this outside. It's so pretty, but look, I often will mention what's going on outside because I encourage you to just be present with where you are. All right. This is the one. That's a little bit of a snippet of a clue for how we're going to heal all this stuff, right? Okay. And so here it's raining. All right. Look. First, I love you so much. I love you. I have not made any money that I know of at all from any of this stuff. And so, but even if I had, it doesn't take away some people's love, right? But I just want you to know, as of making this, I've been making videos for 3 years. And I've not made anything off of any. I don't think one client has come to me through my videos. But, and so like, you can, and I've been a doctor for over 20 years, right? So I'm a psychologist in my day job. And what I used to say is I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening, and all of life is a spiritual awakening. And we are, and Jesus said something, and I welcome all religions, right? I want everybody to be able to access this, right? So I don't mean to put anybody off, right? But he said, there will be a time when people worship in spirit and in truth. And so it just is recognizing again that we are souls in a body. We're not physical beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a physical experience. That's what Teilhard de Chardin said, right? And so it's so accurate. And I want you to remember that, if you will, because it will free you. It'll free you. I just posted a video about getting out of your mind, and understanding, but let's understanding turning your, you can't see I got another video where you can see my arm, but you're turning your weaknesses into strengths, right? Okay. So, understand that your mind will judge everything, because your mind is trying to get you out of danger and into, freedom and all of this stuff. And so once you start learning and practicing, this is a practice. It's just like it took me a long time to practice playing guitar, to get the chords and to be able to go and play different chords and string them together, It takes practice for you to be present and for you to know that you're not your mind and you're not your weaknesses. You are not your weaknesses, right? But let's just look at them, right? I was just preparing a little bit for this video. I like being spontaneous so that my mind doesn't dominate. But we're meant to use our mind like a tool, right? But if I tried to control everything, it would be very boring. Anyway, I did write down, though. Now you just saw them all. I wrote down my weaknesses so that I could express to you guys, so that all right? If you think of 3 of your top weaknesses, just for a moment, don't dwell on them, right? So one of mine, so that you can see how to turn this, how divine love, how God is love, and never meant for you to be trapped and stuck in your weaknesses. This video just came about like 10 minutes ago. I mean, I have a whole book of ideas that I get, but because someone was using the word captivity, and of course my mind wanders a little bit, and I started singing one of Bob Marley's songs in my mind, captivity, and it was like, in our hearts is Mount Zion, now seek the lion, and it's just like, repatriate. Anyway, it's a song about captivity and about coming out of that, and about anyway, So this is one of my weaknesses, right? Is I felt like such a prisoner in so many ways in my childhood and pushed down, oppressed, right? So how it turns into a strength, how divine love, how God and you, by relaxing, our mind wants to just hold on and try to control everything. Relax means to let go. So let go of using your mind. You can observe the thoughts, but stop judging. I have lots of videos about stop judging and why, but why it's important to stop judging even yourself, for sure yourself. It just shuts you down. Now, yes, if there's a tiger in front of me and my mind can go, okay, freeze, go this way, run. You know what I mean? Like my mind helps me with that. But if I'm in fear all the time because I felt oppressed, then I'm always looking out for who's going to oppress me. And then I create that in my reality. And, well, how it's turned into a strength is here I am with you guys, with you women and men and boys and girls, if there are kids watching. I don't think there's anything inappropriate in this video, but sometimes I'll talk about mature things that we have to work on, but this is about when you have a weakness like that, when I'm always thinking like people are going to try to oppress me or try to steal from me, right? This is the first one that I was thinking of with the captivity is I'm just so sensitive to people taking things that aren't theirs, like mistreating other people because of the way I felt. I got my boots on here. I'll take one off so we can see an example. When you feel like you have a boot on your face, when you feel like that, in childhood, it's not to stay in a victim position, right? It's not to stay there, but it's to understand it does make you sensitive to other people who have felt like that or who have truly experienced that, And so, and when it's like, though it's a weakness when I go to people that I love, like my kids or something, I'm like, why are you taking this from me? And they're like, what are you talking about? It's a lot easier for us to see these weaknesses in other people, by the way, because we try to do everything we can to shove them down in ourselves. But once you relax and let go and you can start seeing, hey, you know what? Divine love can take all of this as fertilizer. God can. And so why not learn after God and see how all of these weaknesses can actually be strengths. Like I learned how to be a people pleaser from having a narcissist parent, You had to like figure out what their mood was and try to take all the bad from them and hold it yourself, And then you felt a lot of shame. Like a lot of us could feel a lot of shame because we learned we had to take on the bad in order to survive in childhood, to get by, right? And so that I learned how to be sensitive helps me be sensitive with my clients and be present and not like let them run my life and let their problems run my life. But I'm very aware and they feel very welcomed and protected by me because I protect and I love and I am sensitive. And now if I was still trying to please my dad, I just said it was my dad. Well, I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but that's just my experience. Whether he is or not, that was my experience, right? Is whatever I was doing to try to please him, now it's like I can take the skills that I learned. Let's say for 18 years, I learned how to be like a pleaser times a million, that other people didn't have those skills taught to them. I had to do that to survive. But now it's no longer serving me to be a pleaser of man. Because that makes you captive to them and that makes you, cut off your left arm and you're walking around bleeding out because you think it's your job to please people when it's not your job. It's our job to serve people, love. And what does that look like? What does that look like for real? It's taken me all these years, lots of years, to undo that program, to detach from that programming. But it's taught me how to seek divine love, seek God, and understand, wait, what is the true nature of God? Because God is not like my parents. You know, I even did my dissertation on how people usually conglomerate their parents and see God in that same way. So I encourage you, I challenge you to detach from that image and go, wait, what if God is love? What if there is such thing as a God? You know, I know a lot of atheist friends, you know, that just like, let's just erase God out of the sky and just imagine this stuff just showed up here, and I just showed up here, because it's easier than dealing with. Now, I'm not saying it's so simple as that. I totally respect. I have some very beautiful, poetic atheist friends, and they're very good people, but and there's no but in that. I'm just saying. So oh, you can hear the rain. Learn wherever you are to get really present. When you are present, then your weaknesses are just like these raindrops, you know, they're just washing off my windshield, they're just rolling down. And so you don't have to be so defined by them. But look, if I learned how to be like the best pleaser, I could be like the best car salesman ever, because I would know exactly what the person needs. But I don't want to use my skills for that. But what I was saying is, you can learn how to be devoted to divine love. And one of my friends, I forget what he calls his religion. It's something like Buddhism, but it's not. But he just said, you know, one of the highest characteristics that they value in theirs is devotion. And so it's like, look at how all of this pleasing, I can like vomit at it, you know, and see all of the pain that I have caused in my own life from being a pleaser to people, and you know, not sticking up for my own boundaries, and not you know, not being more shrewd and wise about who I'm letting in. I just open up this giant heart, you know, and think that I'm just supposed to trust everybody, because, you know, my dad had all of this, and my mom, you know, had her good and bad too, but my dad had all of this stuff that he wasn't doing the inner work about. And I was just taught, you're supposed to just accept this and make excuses for, and, you know, so then, yeah, you can make excuses for other people that are in addictions, and you can make excuses for your own addictions that you, don't realize that you're having, that you're living, you know? Okay? So let me go through some of these so you understand. But it can make you have like the highest devotion ever. You know, I quote that quote from Star Wars sometimes. I remember Luke, it stood out to me, of course. He said, you know, I've never seen so much devotion in a droid before. About R2D2 when he went off to go find Obi-Wan. Like, yes, Obi-Wan, you know, the wise mage type person, right? The Jedi warrior. So look, so I'm just explaining this so you can understand. I was talking to God yesterday, to Divine Love, and I was like, I'm so sick of seeing my own face on videos and on the thumbnails and making all these thumbnails, and when I'm scrolling through my phone to upload these for you guys, I'm like, and God gave me a different image to look at, and so maybe I'll share that with you guys someday, but part of it I can share in part is like the sun just shining through me. And so if I just imagine every time you're seeing my face, you're just seeing the sun shining, because that's all I want, is I want divine love. I want true love to shine through for you, so you know true love, right? And so what I wrote down is, yeah, people stealing helps me. I'm so passionate about finding out discovering how your life is being robbed by your old patterns, by addictions, by other people, by programming. That's not your fault. It's not your fault that it started that way, you know? And so I want to set people free. I want so badly to know, to help you identify, look, you don't need to keep going to that addiction or this one, or numbing yourself. Numbing yourself is just robbing your life. And so, you know, because I'm so sensitive to that, and, you know, I can learn when it's disproportionate, out of harmony the other way. But what it's taught me is how to make over 600 videos teaching you guys how to free yourself, how to recognize your patterns, how to recognize this is just old programming. This is just old people, old voices in your head saying you're not worth and all that stuff. And so it's important to find that and address that and see it. And what I was saying earlier is about when you're present, then you keep experiencing yourself as this soul being. You don't have to even know that there's a God to start experiencing that you are a soul here and you have a higher calling than just this life, than just these momentary problems or situations. You have a higher calling. Yeah, I can say than just this life. You have a calling in this life and you have gifts and talents to use in this life. But let's go on for a second about your weaknesses, what you see as weaknesses. Your shadow side will help you see how, Carl Jung would just say, and Joseph Campbell, right? You go into the shadow. The crack is where the light gets through, right? This is where, like, my passion and love and wanting no one to be left out and no one to feel rejected and no one to feel like, oh, I don't have enough money to pay for a psychologist, I can't make up for all of that for people. But this is why I've added all of these videos, because I don't want anyone to have that excuse. I want you to find answers, real, true answers, right? And so, okay. And so it's like things were hidden in my childhood. And so now what am I doing? I'm so outspoken and I have to be careful. Of course I'm careful with my clients and don't share their stuff, but I have to be careful with my friends and not overshare because I'm so open, because I so hated experiencing that experience in childhood of everything being hidden and all this just junk happening and hurt to me and my siblings because patterns were happening and no one was naming them, right? So now all I'm about is naming patterns so that we can all be free. And so that was a weakness that's turned into a strength now, right? This other one of this weakness of feeling like I never can have intimacy or closeness and all I want is closeness, and it makes you feel like you're needy. But guess what? I have read like the most beautiful mystics ever, like Julian of Norwich and Matilda of Magdeburg. I've read her book 3 times so far. I'm on the 3rd, I think, or 4th. And because she says you have to read it 9 times to understand the intimacy in it, basically. But I've had so many beautiful mystic experiences that I wasn't running after and trying to find those. I'm just looking at the time. I can't find the time. I got to go to a meeting, so I'm going to wrap this up. But I'm just saying, like, I've had so many exquisite, beautiful, intimate experiences, even with my clients, just because I was willing to go there, to go to those dark places and to risk learning about more intimacy, because I wanted it so badly in childhood and I didn't feel it. I didn't feel mirroring. I didn't feel the warmth that I wanted, right? And so I want to create that warmth for myself and for everybody. So that weakness. And so that I run from pain before I ran from pain. And I'm not saying I don't do any of these. They're still weaknesses, right? I still want to be aware of them. But it's caused me to seek higher truths and higher realities. All this wanting to run and be like, no, I don't want to be oppressed by any addictions, And so I did my best to keep seeking a true spiritual path, right? So the man pleaser, I talked about that. You can turn that into devotion for God, because no devotion toward God is going to ever be rejected. It's any sincere devotion towards God is always going to be reciprocated. It always will. It says that the Lord hears the brokenhearted. He hears to them and comes to them, And so this broken heart that I had on my sleeve for so long, has just turned me into a sensitive lover. I love people and I love you. And it's made me strong. It's made me stronger. Pain made me sensitive. And even if we learn again from Bob Marley, in your hearts is Mount Zion. Now you know, seek the lion. Seek the lion in you, the true lion that comes out of the weaknesses, turns into strength. When you surrender your passions and cut off the head of the other kind of lion, the green lion. I can talk about that in other videos, but you know, then all your passions can get transmuted. They turn into alchemy for your spiritual awakening, for other spiritual awakening. That's one more thing I wanted to share is like, aren't you so refreshed when you see someone that's sincerely loving? Like when you see someone embrace their weaknesses and just be like, this is what it is, you know? And it doesn't mean make excuses for poor behavior. It just means this is the raw material I have now, and I give it to God. It's so refreshing to find other people that have done the inner work, that do the inner work, that care about transmuting those instead of hurt people. Well, healed people heal people, right? And so I leave you with that. I could say so much more, but I wish you so much love. Thanks so much for being here. Like this, if you will, so this can grow to other people, and comment and subscribe and get the notifications and all that. I wish you so much love. Thanks.